Hello and welcome back to FM Live. My name is Mike Usry, and today we're going to be talking about a lot of opinions. Opinions that actually we've gotten from some of you that you asked us to comment on and talk about why we might think something is good, bad, ugly, or whatever. So this video, we're talking about hot takes, where sometimes somebody might have a good idea, somebody might think that this is the best way to do it, and maybe that's the best way, and maybe it's not. So this video, fortunately, I'm joined by four of my cohorts here at FM. Starting here on my left, we have Ethan, one of our customer support reps. We have Ryan, one of our engineers. Brandon, another one of our engineers. And Nick, one of our customer support reps. So, representing today, we've got a little bit of the troubleshooting side and a little bit of the making the trouble. Yeah, basically. So we'll see how it turns out, but hopefully we have a good coverage of perspectives here. Without further ado, I'll go ahead and get started with the first hot take that I guess I kind of have to champion this, being who I am and the car that I drive. And that is that NC Miatas are the best bang for buck Miata there is right now. And I will go on to describe that as, if you're shopping for a new Miata that you want to modify, drive, or otherwise, generally speaking, the NC market here in North America has been a little bit tamer compared to NAs and NBs and even NDs now that they're on the used market and have been for several years. That you could get a pretty nice low mileage NC for the same money or sometimes less than even the NAs that are older and probably have more miles generally. And so you're kind of getting more car for your money, and they have better suspension. They have more suspension travel. The chassis are stiffer. They are more comfortable on the inside. They have more room on the inside. So to me, they're kind of the bargain value add right now as far as Miatas are concerned. I'm guilty. I have an NC. These are definitely opinions from my experience, just because I've had an NA, I've had an NB. They were fun. I loved them. But man, the NC is pretty great. So that is my hot take. Would anybody like to counterpoint because they're an A, NB, ND lover? Or does everybody agree? Is that not a hot take? Oh, hey, okay, good, excellent.
Michael, how much did you pay for your NC?
So my particular NC might not be the best example, but that's because I wanted the nicest version that I could get. I specifically shopped for a white NC Club that had lowish miles at the time. I put actually quite a few on them since then. It's got 108 or something like that on now. I think I bought it at like 72 something. Anyway, so like I wanted a club spec specifically. No, it wasn't cheap. You don't have to buy a club. I wanted it because I like the way it looks. You can get NC1s and NC2s and 3s with similar performance, especially if you're willing to do your own shocks and springs, wheel and tire upgrade, brakes, whatever else you want to it. You can make them comparably nice as a club and spend a lot less.
So this is a do as I say, not as I do.
I mean, unless you want what you want, Brandon, there's nothing wrong with that.
Fair.
So, okay, was that your point, or do you have more? You just want to poke fun at me, right?
I mean, a little bit. I mean, I'll take any chance I can get about poking fun at Mike, but I think NC1, you might have me. Maybe. Because you can get a pretty good NC1, say 100,000 miles or so, like 6 to 10 grand, which is like good NB money, right? But if you want like the actual good NC, you're paying ND money for that, like ND1, base model ND2 money. So like you may as well get an ND because it's more of a pure, I'll call it Miata chassis.
That's fair.
Ryan has words.
Ryan's making
He's humming and hawing.
Unfortunately, I agree with Mike wholeheartedly. I think the NC is a great value. I didn't know anything about them when I started working here at the beginning of the year, and I have fallen in love with them. I get so giddy anytime I have an excuse to take Nancy home. Especially with our turbo kit, it's phenomenal. I will definitely be owning an NC in the next 5 years. So Sorry, Ethan. I agree with Mike.
Does he want the?
He wants the mic.
No one ever said NCs are bad. NCs are great. We all love NCs. I mean, we kind of have to say that we sell parts for them, right? But I'm saying, is it the best bang for buck compared to maybe modifying an NB or just a completely stock early-ish ND?
I will concede on that one. My NB was very cheap.
There's definitely deals to be had for all generations, I think, especially if you're willing to look into auctions. So, yeah, I guess those things aside,
Yeah, I'm not that familiar with the used market, but to my degree of familiarity, yeah, I think I'm gonna have to decide overall with Mike, particularly as Ethan said on the NC1s. That's probably where your best bang for the buck is going to be because you get most of it. It just looks a little different. The engine is still fine, but it's not as sought after, so therefore cheaper.
they made more NC1s than NC2s and 3s combined. So you're just likely to find an NC1 more than an NC2 or 3.
Economics, supply and demand.
It's like the NA6, but with a bad engine.
We'll get to that in a second.
Nick, do you have anything to add there?
Nope, I would agree with Mike. I'm
All right.
in the same camp as Brandon.
Yeah, looks like Mike's got a pretty good following on this one.
All right. So I'll move on to the next one since we're pretty much all in agreement there. Nick, let's start off with your hot take that you wanted to talk about.
All right, I guess my hot take is all Miatas should be turbocharged. I prefer to drive a fast car slow than a slow car fast. I just have more fun that way. I know that might be a controversial opinion in the Miata community, but I just have more fun when a car is boosted.
We can maybe go down the line on that one. I don't know that I disagree, but I also don't know that I agree quite as strongly. I think a slow car fast is a lot of fun. I think a slow car fast is a lot more approachable. I think a fast car fast is also very fun. And particularly like streetwise, just knowing that you have that kind of thrust under your right foot is pretty nice. I track different ways. They're both a lot of fun. Street, I think street in particular, I really prefer a turbo car because especially we're up here at 5,000 feet. The air's pretty thin. Miatas are not fast anywhere. They're a lot slower up here. So having a turbo really makes a difference. So yeah, I'd give you like a 60 or 70%
I'll take it.
agreement on that one.
I can see both sides of this argument. And honestly, I was definitely in the same camp of thought with turbos are better, or some kind of forced induction is better than a naturally aspirated Miata. But having said that, when we got our new NA6 car, Pepper, over here, just a little while ago, we got it nearly stock. It had a few little modifications for it. I didn't really think much of it. I was like, okay, it's another NA. It was in pretty nice condition, or is in pretty nice condition. So whatever. I drove it once because we needed to test our thoughts on it for a suspension, stock versus modified. And I thought, okay, sure. Went and drove it. I was refreshed by how fun it actually is to drive a naturally aspirated 1.6 that's in mechanically good condition. So I will say that I can certainly agree with being able to really wring an engine's neck and not feel like you're going to get pulled over and taken to jail immediately. So there's definitely a cool thing there, and it sounded good for a 4-cylinder. That 1.6 does have, I think, a slightly nicer sound. Now, I will say, at the end of the day, what am I driving home? My turbo NC. Having had the benefit of horsepower and turbos, it can be fun without, but I don't know that I would ever go back for my daily driven car.
I go back and forth on this one. I'd say I'm a good even 50-50 split. Having had my car for naturally aspirated 5.5 out of the 6 years I've had it, I miss it. I love the simplicity of it. It always started up. It always went. I had no other problems anywhere else in my car because I wasn't really pushing it that hard because it was only naturally aspirated. Rowing through the gears, ringing it out on every street, every corner through the hills in Georgia. And then looking down at the speedometer, I'm only going 35. It was great. I loved kind of opposite of what Mike said here. I like driving like it's a race car on the streets, but then a Miata held me back that, I was only going 30 miles an hour, but I felt like I was driving a race car and I love that. And I miss that. And now I sit there and I have so much power on tap that I have to control it. I have to keep it tamed. On track though, it's a blast. It's great. Street, it is really nice that it's there when I want it, but I do miss the simplicity of a naturally aspirated engine. It makes me want another Miata to specifically not turbo. That said, if I did it again, would I turbo it again? Yeah, I would. The turbo's awesome. But I do miss a naturally aspirated car. So I'm torn between those two.
So put a comment down below if you'd like Ryan to take off his turbo kit and send it to you.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
So I think one thing to note about Nick and why he holds this opinion is that he grew up in the Midwest surrounded by V8s and Firebirds and Mustangs and what's it called, 1320 and ice cream crews in his backyard. So I think to him, he's never experienced a corner before until he was about 35. So he holds this opinion because that's all he had. So it's like, think if you're from the South, what do you guys like in the South? What? Barbecue?
Yeah. Colorado's awesome barbecue.
Pretty medium.
You see? Is someone from Colorado necessarily going to be more likely to favor Southern barbecue? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's fair.
Is my personal opinion on this is I could go either way, really. I wouldn't say it's better or worse. It's different. Especially because like what my pal Ryan here said, it's fun to ring it out. Turbos are also fun because you get that big push in the back, but you're up to speed in like 2 seconds. Even like our stage 1 turbos, 0 to 60 in probably what, 6.5 seconds, maybe.
Yeah.
Probably
And like coming to work here, we get like one road to really accelerate. Like, come on. Like I would say you get more of an experience, at least around here, mountain roads, with a naturally aspirated car. And track wise, depends on the track. Our personal track, I wouldn't say I have any more or less fun with naturally aspirated car versus boosted.
Yeah, I think it's a different kind of fun. I think it's a different kind of fun between the turbo and naturally aspirated. So I had a naturally aspirated NA and a turbo NA at the same time, and they were both an absolute riot on track, but for different reasons. The naturally aspirated car, they talk about it being a momentum car and all that business, but basically if you screw up a corner, it, and the whole lap is gone. But if you screw it up in the turbo car, you can make up for it, but then you're still slow overall, but you're going a lot faster on the parts where you can actually go full throttle. Full throttle, a naturally aspirated car on the back sweeper of our track.
Would be different.
Yeah.
I think high plains would be
High. Yeah, I don't know if you guys can hear. He's saying high plains would be different. High plains are the straights are much longer, which means that you're going to get a lot more bored in a naturally aspirated car. One of Keith's sayings is that a turbo is there to make the straights shorter, so you can get to the corners faster and enjoy the corners faster. And yeah, it's pretty good logic.
Good way.
I'm for it.
I'm all for a compensator.
know.
Yeah. I'm okay with it. All right. So
And we should clarify. All of us have turbo Miatas.
Yeah.
All of us.
Yeah.
you might see a trend.
Yeah.
Hey,
Turbo Miata, naturally aspirated. The background is also mostly Turbo Miata, so.
moving on. Let's see. Brandon, I think it's your turn to suggest your hot take.
Okay.
You're opinionated.
Okay. Actually, yes, I have some opinions. It's a good segue because kind of along the lines of what we're talking about, street versus track and all that kind of stuff. My opinion is that a street Miata, should not have overly sticky tires. You don't need to go 10/10ths absolutely the fastest possible around the corner. You want to have as much fun as possible, and a little bit of playfulness will get you there, as opposed to a tire that has all the grip in the world, maybe is on a bit more of a knife edge. It's riskier, maybe because of breakaway characteristics, but also because you're going so much faster. And kind of to, I think it was Ethan's point about turbos, they're awesome. Well, and Ryan's, probably everybody's point with turbos, is that they're awesome. They're a lot of fun, and you're going way fast. It's the same argument with overly sticky tires. They're fantastic on the track. I've got huge, almost slicks on when I run on track, but I have fairly normal tires for the street. So that is my opinion.
Well, I actually have both. Tried both ways here on my personal Miata. When I was, as Ethan mentioned, when I was still in Nebraska and there weren't many corners to be had, I did have 200 tread-wear tires on my car to make the most of the few corners that were available to me. So I really found it enjoyable to have very sticky tires to enjoy the 4 or 5 cloverleaf exit interchanges that we had around town in my Miata. So I really enjoyed that. I'm out here now with kind of worn down summer tires right now in my car, and I see the enjoyment. I'm driving around with tires that aren't so grippy. But my preference, I don't know. I actually really enjoyed having the sticky tires on the street. Personally, it made the corners I could experience when I was in the Midwest quite a lot more enjoyable. So that's kind of my default, is to go with the stickier tire than maybe other people might run on the street. So, but I can see both arguments.
When I first started working here, I had an NB that I was putting together. It was going to be a track build, no expense spared, except for the V8, I guess. That didn't happen. But I did put 15x8s on it, and then I went as big as 15x9s, and I had, I think they were BF Goodrich somethings. Anyway, I think they were 200 treadwear tires. They were fine. Went with a couple other 200 treadwear tires after that for both the 8s and the 10s, and they worked great on the track. My problem is that I think my pinky started creeping taller and taller, and on the road, going down the highway, if I was going down to Gateway to go do a fun drive, see some cars at the museum, or if I was traveling to the Gap, or if I was going to go see my grandparents out of state, whatever, I got to the point where it was so annoying to me to hear the tires rah, 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 as I was going down the highway, with those sticky rubber that it wears and gets really loud. If you've ever had it, you know what I'm talking about. And it wasn't fun for me, and I wasn't enjoying the car. It's one of the reasons why I ended up selling my NB, because it was so track focused. I didn't like driving it on the street. And so when that happened, I thought, I don't want to do that with my NC. And I did start off with some Continental Extreme Contact Sport 02s, which are 340 treadwear tires, I think. And they're great, actually. I like them quite a bit. And then I wound up getting a set of wheels that are the FDRX7 wheels that are 16s, because I was like, let's give it a shot. Got them, and I thought, I don't want to spend a fortune on tires. What's the cheapest tire I can get that doesn't look sketchy? I found some Kumho Exta 42X, I don't know, some sort of thing I'd never heard before. And they're like 460 treadwear or something like that. Honestly, I have no complaints. They're quiet, and they have no issue with grip. I actually took that setup down to the Gap this year and was running through all of 129 and, the associated really twisty highways down there. I kept up with Stefan Knapp in his relatively race prep, or at least aggressively prepped NC with a 2.5 swap just fine. Stefan can argue with me. I didn't have any issues with that. That's fine.
Because he wasn't trying, Mike.
He was hosting a group of people. Whatever. So honestly, I was very impressed with it. I think nowadays tire compounds have come a long way, and you don't have to spend a whole bunch of money to get reasonably good tires. As long as you do your homework and you're not buying the most generic black and rounds you can get from Walmart, maybe, don't do that. But there are options out there that I think I paid $80 a tire and blown away. As far as bang for buck, I'm really happy. So I guess all of that to say that I don't mind less grippy tires. I don't think you need to have the biggest, widest to have fun. They're predictable, they're quiet, they're comfortable. Call me old, but boy, it makes me happy.
So when I bought my Miata, it still had the OEM wheels on it, which were pretty skinny. Honestly, might have been the original tires too. I'm not really sure. They were not great, but they were a lot of fun. I love drifting corners when I can find them. I had a 90-degree exit outside of the parking lot of one of the old places I used to work, and I would drift that every single day, going to work and leaving work every single time. And it was so fun because I didn't care about those tires. I was prepared to buy new tires whenever they wore out. So I was like, I don't care. I'll just rip these. And I did a lot of that for like 3 years. And then finally they got low enough that I was like, okay, I should get some real, big boy wheels and tires. And so I did. I got some 205, the Extreme Contact Sports that Mike mentioned, and they were really grippy. And it was cool that I was like, oh, wow, I can take corners a lot quicker than I can. But then they were expensive tires, so I didn't really want to do burnouts anymore. They were harder to, lose traction on purposely. I roasted a clutch by not dropping it hard enough to do a burnout. And destroyed a clutch.
Did it catch fire?
No. Maybe by the smell, it smelled pretty nasty. And then I tried to drive it for 2 more months until it slowly slipped more and more, and then I got stranded. So if it's slipping, just change your clutch.
It's time.
I had too much grip for my naturally aspirated Miata, and I kind of missed having my OEM tires. Now that I've turbocharged it, I'm kind of back on that other side that I can break them loose when I want to. When I pull out of the car wash and my wheels are wet, I mash the throttle and I can drift out of the parking lot. It's a lot of fun. At our track, I have to watch my throttle because if I put it down, I'll spin the rears, and that's what makes our track so fun. That I think that there's a nice balance. So I think find what the perfect setup is for your power and your weight in terms of tire size and tread wear, and then back it off a hair and get those so that they're a little slippy but also have good grip. I think that's the nice sweet spot.
What Ryan said. I mean, really, I don't really.
How wide are
Care.
the wheels on your Miata, Ethan?
My wheels are 15 by 10. Thank you very much. It's a track car. It's a track car. I have those because I like them. Winter setup's 15 by 7s though, and a 195 tire. I mean, I don't know. Street cars to me, don't drive like a jerk. I don't know. Just drive your car out. I don't really have an opinion.
Since we didn't really get any opposing views on that, backstage there was one very vocal person that was pro wide wheels and tires. So I think that maybe we should hear from our own Travis. Get him out from behind the camera.
Yes. Come here, Travis.
Everybody! Yay, Travis! So Travis, tell us about your setup and why you think it's superior.
So first off, I will say that no one here is wrong, and you should do what you like.
We're here
But
for opinions, Travis. Come on.
for me, my opinion, I like the stickier, wider tires. I've had 3 different Miatas with 3 different power setups. I've had
What do you use them for?
the current one is a garage queen. Are you happy? I said it. What? And but I do like the stability. I like being able to take a roundabout hard. I mean, like these guys are saying, we have mountain roads, we have roundabouts. I like the predictability and knowing that I can, hold some speed in the corner without the brake in coming loose. I like being able to take a roundabout without my back tires squealing and accidentally drifting through a corner in the rain and having every
You
cop
don't-
and every person.
You don't
every
drive in the
person-
rain, Travis.
Yeah.
I don't drive the Miata in there.
Yeah.
In order to slide in the rain, you have to first drive in the rain.
I should have seen this coming. I probably deserve this. But even on other cars, I've put in at least slightly sticky tires on there because you want to be safe. On a daily car, it's got to be something that you feel comfortable driving. And for me, I liked the predictability and knowing that if I have to jerk the wheel, the car is going to go where I point it, not where it wants to because the tires are cheap and it's going to slide around a little bit. I completely get the philosophy behind the fun, playful Miata, but you know, I like the fact that my car is currently set up with 17 by 9s. I've got 245 R888Rs on it, and it is perfectly stable in a straight line. If I want to turn left, all I got to do is flick the wheel, and it is super responsive. I don't break the rack end loose because I like traction. I want the car to go where I want it to go. And like Mike said, there may be some tire noise that is mildly annoying at times, but that's what the stereo button is for. And you just turn it up, the music up louder until you don't hear it anymore. My opinion, do you. Do what's safe. Don't do anything stupid. And do what you like. Have fun with it. That's the whole point of these cars, is to have fun, right?
Thanks, Mom. Thank you, Travis. Yay! Now let's get into something a little bit more contentious. Bum, bum, bum.
NAs are only good for their pop-ups.
Oh.
The NB's just a better car in every other way. Stiffer chassis, better engines, better interior, has cup holders. The NB is just a better chassis, a better car. It's everything wrong with the NA, they fixed it. So
hate mail can be addressed to...
you know, if they didn't have pop-ups, that's the only reason you like them, which, again, I want to own an NA one day. But NB's just a better chassis in every way. Hand it off to the NA owner.
I mean, yes, I have an NA. I don't really disagree with Ryan. However, I think this is a good example of objective versus subjective. Because objectively, yeah, he's right. You know, the NA is lighter. The NA, particularly the 1.6, is a little revier, I suppose. But then you get into the subjective of style and classic and pop-ups and all that kind of stuff. And I have an NA because I have an NA, not necessarily because I specifically wanted an NA over an NB. I've had it long enough that it was probably what fit into my budget at the time.
The price is right, probably.
Yep. And I love NAs, but also I do like NBs, and they are stiffer and have a tick more horsepower depending on what year you're talking about, and that kind of stuff. NAs have the option for better headlights because everything in a certain year range came with 7-inch rounds. So there are a bazillion different options. So, hey, it's got that going for it.
There's a lot of terrible options.
Oh, yes, there's a lot of garbage out there. But hey, hot tip, you know who doesn't have garbage options? Flyin Miata.
Check it out on our website.
FlyinMiata.com.
Yeah, don't get me started on lighting.
Don't get him started on lighting. Yes.
There are some good options, but there's a lot of terrible options. I guess since I'm holding the mic anyway, I will say, having owned an NA and an NB, so I actually know what both chassis are like to drive.
Your NB better, right?
If I were going to go back,
Voluntarily got rid of his NB, but he did not voluntarily get rid of his NA.
my NA had a short life. It was taken from me. RIP my 96M edition, F-150. It didn't win. That is true. That being said, I think that if I were to go back to an earlier chassis, I think for nostalgia's sake, I'd probably try to find a 96M. Just because I liked that car. It was sentimental to me. I might still own it today if it wasn't in a wreck that, it was hammered. There was no saving it. But was it better? Okay. I think for me, the NA-NB argument is often that the chassis are so similar, you can swap parts between them. I'm not really worried about the upgrades and stuff because, like, if you don't like your engine, just put a different one in. There's lots of options to choose from. I think that for me, it's more about the aesthetics. The NAs are classic for a reason. They look good. NBs look good too. I guess if I were to do an NB again, I'd probably do an NB2 specifically. I think the bumper front covers in the front are a little nicer, a little bit more aggressive looking headlights, that kind of thing.
One guy is shaking his
head. Yeah. I mean, pros and cons. But I think that if we're going off of which one I would choose if I were going to go back because I think it's better, I'd probably go for a 96M because I like the way it looks. It was special to me. So, yeah, I guess I'll go NA on this one.
Ryan, we did our track day a while ago with all of the cars there. Which one was your favorite and we had every generation there?
Okay, I will say Captain Bob was my answer. Captain Bob is a phenomenal car. I really liked it. Super solid.
It's our 95 NA Miata.
Yeah.
If you don't know our cars by name.
I think that comes down to Reggie just needing a few things, though. It had a thump with the exhaust that, made me a little hesitant driving because we weren't sure what
Not
it was
an
at the
FM
time.
exhaust.
Yes. And it
Getting
needs
rectified now, actually.
it is. And it needs a limited slip for sure. I kept lifting the
Also
inside
getting
wheel.
rectified.
Is it?
Yeah.
That's news to me. That's exciting.
Yeah, Reggie's our 2002 NB2 Miata. Again, if you don't know the names. We're going to reference a lot of the cars by name because the red one doesn't often tell you exactly which car we're talking about.
Yep. So he does have me on that one. But Reggie with a few things, and getting us back to the track, then I think we'll see.
So if you want to see us all go out to the track again, comment down below.
Ethan will pay per comment.
Oh, that's true. Ethan is our biggest proponent for track day to learn. So,
Yeah, learn. For those that don't know, I have owned 8 separate NA and NB Miatas. I've had 5 NAs and 3 NBs. And I'm going to be non-committal here and say they're different.
how many of them ran?
6. Which is, I feel like it's a decent number.
Actually, I was expecting less.
Yeah. I have had a few. I've had a few parts cars. Yeah, but like interior wise, NA6 especially, totally best. My personal opinion, NA6 interior absolutely the best out of any NA or NB, and I think NA6 especially like a completely stock one. I would say, yeah, pretty much any stock NA6 that's in reasonably good condition, which many of mine weren't. Are fun to ring out. They're fun to play around with on the street. I mean, sure. Yeah, you know what? NA6 is my favorite. That's the best one.
What do you currently own?
I was about to be reactionary. I have an NB2. I have owned 4 NA6s.
But notice that they're all sold.
One was a better track car. That's what I want to do.
I will say one other point though that I did think NBs don't look good with BBS wheels, and that is a point for the NA. So
There's definitely something to be said about the classic look. Hence why we have like wheels on Pepper, because they just fit that kind of retro look better than NBs for the most part. Hopefully the comments haven't torn us apart too badly, but
Anything good, Kian?
we'll yeah, it's looking great. Excellent. So let's quickly move on, and maybe people will forget about Ryan's grievances here. Ethan, what is your hot take you'd like to share today?
My hot take is that a 15x8 wheel, if you have the opportunity in whatever wheel you're getting, is the wrong size. 15x7s are better for a street car. You can fit a stock size tire on it. They have winter tire options. There's better all-season options. You can fit a 205 on an 8-inch wheel, but you have to stretch it, and that looks goofy. And a lot of tire shops simply just won't do that. If you want a track setup, if you want a real grippy tire, I need you to commit. Get yourself a 15x9, stretch a 225, or even put a 245 on there. Roll your fenders, it's fine. These are Miatas, not Ferraris. You'll be fine. It's not going to hurt the value. I promise it's fine. I need you to commit.
I had 15x8s, so that felt very targeted.
Who has 15x8s in this group? No? No, just the two of us.
wow.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, Kian as well.
I have 8s, but I have 225s on mine.
To be
so-
fair, Kian has like wheels, and I said if you have the opportunity to get in a different size. If you just like the aesthetics of it, and that's the only choice, and that's the only choice.
I found the 15x8 is a pretty good sweet spot, with enough grip, and they are pretty available, very common. I think the fitment looks very good naturally on a 15x8, and good grip, but then I can still slip it a little bit when I want to with the turbo, like we already talked about.
What's the offset on our wheels between a 15x7 and 15x8?
I don't know, what are they, CSR?
They're a plus 23 for a 15x7 and a plus 36 for a 15x8. To the outside of the car, they look identical. Brandon will back me up on this.
Yeah, he's right.
Yeah. So if you're looking for aesthetics, it's just not a valid point.
You're just wrong.
You're not reasonably going to, if you say you want one for a 15x7, you didn't say, the whole point is you don't want to roll your fenders, right? A 205 50-15 on a 15x7 with a 200 treadwear, good grippy tire on the street, you are not going to outdrive that unless you're being a jerk.
I kind of agree, only for the aesthetic purpose. I will say that especially for an NA or NB, if you're not looking to get crazy, especially if you don't own a fender roller or don't know anybody that can do it, or if you're just, hey, some of us have slightly higher standards, okay? The 205 and an 8, it does work. We know it's a proven solution. We've done it a lot. Making the sidewall a little bit stiffer because it's stretched is actually a little bit more predictable in certain scenarios if you're tracking it. There's actually a really good tie rack video about this that they did a test for different wheel widths versus tires that are the same width. It's a good video if you haven't seen it. So it can be a little bit more predictable because the sidewall is not flexing and moving around and squirming as much.
But could you just get a 225 on a 9?
You could get a 225 and a 9. So I can understand the whole commit thing. If you're going to go big, go big. Having run NB with 10s and 245s at least once, I get it. That being said, for comfort's sake, I do like 7s on NAs and NBs for street cars. So personally, yeah, Ryan, sorry, man. I'd go with the 7s, has the same outside, face for its offset. You go with a 205, you get a little bit more squish out of the sidewall because of it. It still looks good. I don't really see the downside there. So I guess I'm kind of with Ethan on that.
I don't really disagree, but I have some more things to say on the matter. The 15x7 with the plus 23, yeah, you're totally right. That does, if you're ignoring the width of the tire, then it's going to look the same from the side of the car. Let's put it that way. From the side of the car, it's going to look the same as a 15x8. If you're using our 7s, I think you're going to be hard-pressed to find a 7 in that offset. I haven't done an exhaustive search, so
They're
I could
all
be
over
wrong.
eBay. You can get
Oh,
crazy offsets if you
That's
want.
a good plan. You let me know how that works out.
I didn't recommend it. I just
Yeah.
said you could.
What's the opinion on an 80-pound wheel on a Miata? But no, so I think that's a valid point. I think it's also going to be tough to find in not a Kogeki. I think the 8 does look a little bit better from the back in terms of width because it does have that little bit of stretch. It does make it a more responsive and predictable tire. But the 7 is going to be lighter. It's going to be a less responsive and I guess predictable, but mostly less responsive tire. Same for same, same tire on a 7 versus an 8. But it's also going to be a more comfortable tire because it still does have a little bit of give in that sidewall. So I had 7s for my street wheels on my NA, and then I had a small incident, and those 7s were no longer an option. And we weren't selling 7s at that point, so I got 8s, and they're fine. I actually really like the aesthetics of it, but the ride quality did take a little bit of a hit. And an 8, if you're not willing, I don't really disagree with Ethan in terms of committing, but if you're not willing to, which is fine, we're not here to judge, then an 8 is going to be much better at both of them.
This is an opinions video, so we are here to judge.
Oh, I'm judging Ethan, but I'm not going to judge anyone else that is, has limitations. So, so anyway, kind of a non-answer, but yeah, if I would say that if you're buying our wheels and you're able to commit to 9s for track, then yeah, I would vote for 7s over 8s.
I've got 15x7s on my car. I got them because I didn't need a wider tire for the street. Since then, I've seen enough cars set up with 205 tires and 15x8 wheels. I really like the look. If I had to do it again, I would get an 8-inch wide wheel with a 205 street tire just for the look alone. But I would agree with Ethan. If you're going to go for a track setup, just go straight to the 9s. Get a wide, fat tire, have fun on the track, and then have a 15x7 for the street.
Yep, no argument. If I had to do it again, I'd probably do 7s, but I definitely prefer the aesthetics of the 8s. Even like just a little bit of stretch to the sidewall, I do like that aesthetic.
Fair enough. I've also had plenty of sets of 15x8s, so. All right. Well, we were all very highly opinionated, and we've actually chatted quite a bit longer than I anticipated, so we'll probably end it there. I would like to ask, what do you guys think? Did we cover the topics you wanted? Are there more topics? I'm sure there are. What do you think? Should we have a second video where we cover more hot takes about what things we think are appropriate, not appropriate, cool, uncool, whatever? If you think so, drop us some comments down below and suggest what we should talk about in the next video if you want us to do that. Also, of course, if you have any questions about any of the things we talked about, again, they were opinions stated. There were some that we talked about with fact and some that we talked about because of preference. If you wanted to talk about any of that in particular with one of us, give us a call, send us an email. We can go into any of this stuff at depth with you individually if you'd like to do that. So just let us know. But otherwise, of course, if you like this kind of video, give us a like, subscribe, hit the bell if you want to get a notification for next time we go live. That way we can keep hopefully giving you more entertaining, interesting, and informative content like this. As always, we thank you so much for paying attention and joining us for these kind of videos, and we will see you in the next one. I thought Michaela was just watching.
No, she had the chicken.
I saw the chicken. I knew she was going to do something.